Shoot, man.
Man, don't fall.
Nah. I might kick something, bang my leg on something, but I don't fall. What T.I. say in ATL? Don't fall,
You may slip, stumble a little bit, but
but
you
you
don't
don't
fall.
fall. Welcome back to another episode of Square Business. My name is Rodney Sorrell. I'm your host,
Say Curtis Adams, co-host. What's up, y'all?
and we back with another one, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you follow the new Facebook page, the new Instagram page,
Yes, sir.
and the TikTok page.
Yeah, man, and also follow the YouTube because we
Oh
got
yeah,
content going out. You're going to see, this year we're trying to do a couple different things. Vlog posts here, little posts there, sharing our clips and stuff like that, man. So we ask y'all to just follow us on all social media platforms because support, means everything.
absolutely. So today we talking about the parent trap. Now, when you say the parent trap, what exactly do you mean
Man,
by that?
I think, when I talk about the parent trap, I try to tell folks, like, man, we just passed Valentine's Day, right? So people
Hmm.
getting married or engaged or, they're celebrating love. And the first thing that everybody automatically asks whenever you get into any type of milestone with, your significant other is, hey, man, when y'all going to expand your family or when y'all going to have a kid or when y'all
Right,
going to do
right,
this?
right.
So, the parent trap is when you get into that space of like, oh man, now I really gotta push this relationship forward. I gotta go to the next step, man. You don't
Hmm.
even take time to even really get to enjoy, this season of whatever it is with your, significant other, with your wife, with your husband, whatever. You now in this space where everybody's trying to like push you forward into parenthood
Yeah,
and pigeonhole you, man. So that's what I mean when I talk about, the parent trap and even then, uh, you can get in that trap before you get to the married portion because it becomes a mindset thing.
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're getting into.
Okay. Yeah, man. If I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd be a rich man.
Big
And
money.
I think that some people are. I think some people are genuine when they ask those types of questions because they're they just want to see you happy.
Yeah.
But a lot, they just want to, I guess, have a story to tell, control the narrative, and that's cool. But you know, the decision is mine, and my partner's alone. So that's pretty much that on that.
Yeah, man. And then, people try to do it from a genuine good place, but
It's just like the normal thing to ask,
yeah, man.
but
But
nobody really understands the impact of those questions.
I mean, yeah, man. It's really people don't understand the impact and they don't understand the pressure that comes with that, man. Like when we talk about the pressure of the parent trap, man, it's one, all the other stuff aside, like just as a man, because we can't really give woman's perspective on this for real. Um, that pressure that you feel as a man to one already be a provider and protector for your wife,
Hmm.
like that is paramount. That becomes I like you can speak more to that than I can at this point. But I feel like, once I get a wife, my main concern is going to become providing and protecting, for this woman that I've chosen to spend the rest of my life with, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, I'm still trying to get used to that part, or I would like to still get used to that part before I add on, you know, other kids into the mix. And don't get me wrong, yeah, I know that sometimes you have that child that's already there. So then that's another layer of it, and people want you to still add more,
Yeah.
even on that.
You mean like being with someone that already has a child?
Yeah, like I
Gotcha.
mean, that's the reality. Like I'll say for me, right? Of course, you're married, but where I'm still in this dating world, most of the people, because I'm older, the most people I date are going to have or come with a child. And I'm like, all right, I'm not just looking at, a potential wife. I'm also seeing who she already is as a mother.
Yeah.
I'm also looking at that. So I'm like, okay, I got to provide for and A1.
Hmm.
So, and there's a lot of people out there that will tell you oh well, you don't have to worry about that because you're dating me, you're not dating my child. And I think
Right.
great, get that, understand that. But yet, if I'm over here making a house or a home, my hope, as a man, is that I'm building something that both you and your child or children can come into and feel comfortable. So, I think that's part of it.
Okay. So when if we're talking about the parent trap, what's the trap there? Like what is it a fear behind um creating that environment? Like what makes you feel like you could be trapped?
I think for me, and I'm speaking as 6'3", 35-year-old black man, right? For me, I think the fear comes from repeating. Um, we talk about generational trauma or
Yeah.
uh, generational problems, right? So I
Yep.
don't want to repeat the same mistakes and errors that I had from my biological father. And
Okay.
touching on that fear, I think that held me back in so many ways, bro, because I didn't have the best relationship with my father. I didn't have, him coming to see me every other weekend, or that positive saying of, yeah, you can get to go see your dad this weekend. No, I didn't have that. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be that present dad or present father for my own kids. So that's led me to even think about the ways that I date and engage with people. Like, man, could I see myself being with this person for my child even, or them being the parent of my child?
Yeah.
Because it's real, bro. I don't know.
Have you healed from that?
I want to say I didn't have. I really do.
Or
Um,
have you been able to have that conversation?
man,
Is that something you even desire?
it's it's a conversation that I have had, and just going a little bit and giving you some backstory, a little bit about me. It was like 15, 16, man. Me and my mom were having this conversation, and then just went left. Like, one of the things that she had said to me before is just like your dad, and talking about my biological father. And man, anytime she said that, they used to get the biggest rise out of me because I was
That's a sharp knife right there.
dude, I was over there because at the first half of my life, I was fighting so hard against being that same person that I felt was a mistake in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was fighting against the everything. Anytime people would compare me or whatever, it used to make me so mad because I'm like, we all saw the Fresh Prince of Bel Air episode where he was like, "Man, why don't he want me?" I had dealt with that rejection, that frustration, that anger, the
Yeah.
sadness that
Yeah.
came with like that rejection. So,
Man.
dude, like 16, man, me and my mom getting into it. She says that I walk out the house, and my stepdad came after me, but there was a stop sign, man, and I just started wailing on this stop sign, bro, because I'm like, man, I don't want to aim this anger at no person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to let this anger out against another living being. So it was like, what's the closest inanimate object?
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to feel pain, I don't want it to cause anybody else pain. I'd rather take that pain on myself.
Right.
So yeah, that I think the fear of just being that which I despised is part of it.
Okay. Yeah, man. I growing up, I dealt with a lot of witnessing a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of substance use, and let's just say alcohol induced rage.
Mhm.
And it got to a point where, I'm 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I'm witnessing this, and I think that uh, seeing that as a child affected my relationships, my communication skills in those relationships. Because looking back at it now, I feel like that's what I thought a relationship looked like.
Mhm.
And it wasn't just at home. It was, various places that I was at. And just seeing that, as a kid, you just soak all that stuff up, man.
Yeah.
And you don't know right from wrong just yet. Like true right from wrong.
Yeah.
And that affected me growing up. And, as far as the parent trap goes, I definitely, I hope to be a father one day, but I don't want my children to deal with any type of dysfunction. And that's one of my, I wouldn't say it's a fear, but it definitely is a concern. I just don't want them to deal with dysfunction because I don't like dealing with dysfunction because I've dealt with it for so long. And thank God that I have the skills to avoid that now.
Yeah.
And when I can avoid it, I know how to work through it. But yeah, I definitely, even with my wife, I don't want her to ever have to experience that type of dysfunction. But sometimes I have to catch myself. Um, I'm so busy trying to protect myself and protect her from the dysfunction that sometimes I'm the one that brings it to her.
Mm.
And so then sometimes I'm questioning, am I am I really healed from it?
Mhm.
And honestly, I don't think that I am. We having a little light misfunction here.
Uh-oh. Holy Ghost?
And God said, let there be light.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, sometimes I don't think I've fully healed from that. I like to think that I have, but, um, I think healing is a continuous process and it's not something that, is set in stone, just completed. It's a lifelong thing. But yeah, I've seen sparks of it, if I start to get emotional or upset or whatever, if I start going over the edge, I see sparks of it. So that's what I'm working on right now is you know learning how to either remove myself
Mhm.
so that that dysfunction doesn't come through and I damage myself further and her, and or just losing her altogether, or with my family or my friends or whatever. But yeah, I definitely don't want to be trapped, but sometimes I feel like I could trap myself.
Yeah, man. I guess here's a question because what you're sharing. I think a lot of us as young men went through, right? That whole scene. Like a lot of times, a lot of our friends, even us, we didn't see how or what love and loving correctly look like, right? So
Yeah,
question I kind of bring it back to is one, how much of that is our own lived experience versus how much of that is culturally as black men like not wanting to be perceived a certain way because I hear you talking about going over the edge and I really want to I kind of in the midst of this trap I think there are like it's not a single layer trap, right? Because we
yeah,
talk
definitely
about
not.
we talk about them hurdles and them walls that
Hmm.
we encounter, and I'll ask you this question, and you can reflect it back to me. Like, what hurdles or walls did you encounter, and do you feel as though they're cultural, mental, whatever?
Yeah, I think there was a cultural element to it. Growing up for those that are from Beckley and familiar with the area, growing up in the Red Brush area, um, it was rough. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it was. I guess it was dangerous, but I mean, so young, you don't realize what kind of danger you really in. You just
Right.
think it's like everyday programming.
We over here hopping fences and barbed
Man,
wire and
yeah, and that was just what it was. But I definitely think that it was a cultural thing, and I probably wasn't the only kid dealing with that, but there was a lot of a lot of, like I say, verbal abuse, uh, people fighting all the time, uh, seeing moms and dads yelling at each other and name calling and all that stuff. And as a kid, you soak all that up, and it becomes normal to a kid after a while.
Yeah.
But you still kind of luckily growing up, when I became a teenager into a young man,
Hmm.
I was lucky and blessed enough to have people around me that um, showed me how things are really supposed to be. But because of those struggles early on, it's hard to, it can't just change like that.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of growing up to do. And I feel like I did my work, and I'm still doing it today, and just trying to be the best me. But it definitely plays a part. But there comes a time when you gain a level of maturity where now you do know true right from wrong,
Yeah.
and so you can't stay there. You can't just say, well, this is the way it was. This is how I came up, and it was just a cultural thing. So that's just the way we are. That's not the way we have to be.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that, man. Because a lot of times I have to hold myself accountable for what I believe and my perceptions of my own life, bro. Because like I shared that story about me at 16, it took me like 10 years to really unpack a lot of those emotions that I didn't have the tools for back
Yeah,
then. I think, over that course of that time, I slowly had to gain tools, and it wasn't always, I can't say I had all the best mentors for that type of stuff,
yeah,
because a lot of times, just growing up where we grew up, man, it was you got to figure it out on your own type deal. And yeah, even now, man, I hear parents that have young men and have these boys out there, and they're like, man, I wish we had some more male mentorship, around here. I wish we had, more than sports as an outlet. But
yeah,
bro, I think up until I was about 25 is when I really started realizing that I had to really stop banging my head against those certain walls and barricades that I had put up. Like, sometimes it's not necessarily that society puts the parent trap in place. It's that we put blockades around our own stuff and keep us trapped in this comfortable cycle.
yeah,
And man, like, I don't know, about you, but there came a point where I was just like, man, I gotta ask myself, do I really want to be married? Do I even really want to have kids? Do I really want to do this thing? And I had to really learn to not necessarily forgive my father, for not being the best example, my biological father, because like I said, stepdad was everything to me, man. So when people ask me about who my father is, I'll say my stepdad. But at the same time, man, I had to overcome those barriers of my biological father in our relationship. And I had to learn not to forgive him, but to forgive myself for carrying that baggage for so long.
hmm
Because a lot of times, some of the baggage that we carry is baggage that we've put on ourselves and baggage that we refuse to let go of.
yeah. And that was my issue. I think to a small degree it still is,
Hmm.
and I haven't quite confronted that. But I, in contrast to your experience, I had my both of my biological parents coming up, but like I mentioned earlier, early on in my life, my dad was, he drank a lot. So, um, there, like I said, there was a lot of verbal abuse, and it heavily affected me. Me and my dad, before he passed away in 2022, God rest his soul, uh, we had a pretty good relationship, from the time maybe I was 13, 14. He gave up drinking, and thank God for that. Things got better. He he was a man who he cared a lot. He just didn't know how to show it. And when I was a kid, I didn't look at it like that. Well, maybe he just doesn't know how.
Hmm.
But I do know that he cared, and he would he would move a mountain for me. But unfortunately, in those early years, there was some damage done. But I feel like when I got older, we kind of repaired that, and we were still able to laugh and joke together, and I'm very thankful for that. But it's it's just certain things that you don't want history to repeat itself, and that's
Right.
I don't want that for my family. And I could go on and on about multiple traumatic experiences I had as a child. Maybe we can do that on another episode. But
Yeah, man.
yeah,
But it sounds like a men's mental health month
yeah,
episode.
I don't want to get too emotional up in here. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. I I guess me personally, I was just fortunate enough to have a few mentors around who kept that holy bug in my ear,
Yeah, man.
and I just feel like I was blessed to have it. Because if not, I might still be over there, doing who knows what.
Man. I gotta laugh a little bit at the holy bug. Because I told you I've been preaching since 18, bro. So I've been in the church in some form or fashion all my life. That's just been what it is. So,
Yeah.
bro, from the time I gave my trial sermon, even till now, people ask that question of, man, when you gonna find your wife, man? When you gonna get your first lady, dog? When you
Hmm.
gonna start your family, man? The church need a first family, and I'm over here. I'm like, I'm not even the pastor yet. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we still got our senior pastor, but at the same time, I think for me, when it comes to the parent trap, I have to. I'm navigating it in a way, man, because a lot of times I think it's the fear of choosing wrong, and like you said,
So you're not afraid to move. You just afraid you want to move correctly. You don't want to move incorrectly.
right.
Is that because you feel like you're running out of time?
And that's for me. I don't feel as though I'm running out of time. What I will say is that the fear of choosing wrong is because I know that I don't want to have that broken house. I know that I don't want to go through the trials and tribulations of divorce. I
Gotcha.
I know that and to a certain extent, I will say, you know what, even that it's not necessarily a fear of commitment. It's wanting to make sure that I'm prepared enough to make that commitment and take it to its completion. And I think, I said earlier, I believe I had to sit back and really ask myself the questions of, do I want this? Why am I so afraid to take that next step? Um, and why is it that I feel I have to make the right move instead of making the move in general?
I think it's fear, man.
I mean,
I
yeah,
th- I think I think where you mentioned that you weren't able to make those amends with your biological father. I think it sounds like to me. I think that might be the root of. I don't want to call it a problem, but I think that there's some healing that you might need to do still.
yeah. And I mean, that's my thing is like, I don't mind you calling it a problem because, well, one, even though this is on like a public forum or whatever, I do value your opinion as my brother, as my
Well,
boy, as my
I would
homie.
never tear you down, man.
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we all about building up
So,
and supporting each other.
so that's my thing is like, man, if if you see something, I think that's one thing standing on business, right? Is that sometimes we need somebody to give us that perspective. And while I don't necessarily call it fear, I think for me, what I call it is more so doubt
Okay.
because struggled, and still struggle with the idea of feeling worthy enough to have a partner at times. And I'm daily working to overcome that. And now more than ever, I can say it's less daunting to me. Like I don't hold. There used to be a time where I would be dating somebody or talking to somebody, and bruh, it would hit me, and I would run. I wouldn't ghost the person, but I would slowly begin to pull back being the person that I was presently with them every day.
Got you. But who's judging your worth though?
It was me, for real.
That's not your job.
And that's the part, bro. That's why I was like, I finally got to a point, and I'll say this over the last year, because that doubt when I was trying to fulfill everybody else's expectations in the trap,
Yeah.
it caused me to stay in relationships that I didn't need to stay in, that I knew was going to fail. And it also caused me not to pursue relationships that could or had potential. And I had to, literally this last year, I finally just got to a place where I said, I'm God, I'm giving it up to you. I can't continue to carry this doubt and walk forward in my life.
It's too heavy, man.
Yeah, man. Like, I got tired of second guessing those decisions. I got tired of sitting in comfortability with, what was good enough. Like, and I'll say over the last year, in every aspect of my life, I've taken risk. And, some have worked out, and, God be the glory. I'm glad about it. And even the ones that didn't work out, I was proud of myself for just taking the step.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, man, on the other end, I've had people that have pursued me, and they're like, "Man, you don't want this, you don't want that." And I said, "No, it's not that I don't want it. It's that I'm more clear about what I want, and if I wanted to be with you, or if I wanted to talk to you, I would do that." And then when you reflect that and you're just clear about that intention, that motive, some people accept it and others don't. So
I want to challenge you a little bit.
go ahead.
I don't I don't know if it was doubt. I think doubt was a factor,
Yeah.
but I think it's more control,
Okay.
a sense of control, and that's a defense mechanism.
Very true. It's
What
like,
What do you think?
dude, it's like my humor. We know I have and use humor at every step. And by the way, don't you dare bill me for this session.
Invoice coming your way.
Yeah, but no, I can say that a lot of it is a defense mechanism, and it helps me and also hurts me in my processing,
Hmm.
because I can't. And even after we leave here, bro, I know I'm gonna chew on this. I know I'm gonna chew on this something heavy, man, because I think that's the part that you talked about, that continual healing, right?
Right.
There's still remnants of that hurt inner child, that hurt inner boy that saw, violence, or that saw addiction, that saw not being loved properly, that still deals with rejection. There's still remnants of that hurt soul, that hurt person that I used to be,
Yeah.
that show up in my adult age, in my adult space. And daily I have to, one, nurture that person out of their hiding place so that we can deal with that trauma.
Got you. Yeah, man. I totally agree with that. I think the best thing to do is to do that work on yourself.
Yeah.
Because now that you're cognizant of it, if you go in to a relationship knowing that you're not truly healed and not really ready for the emotional commitment that it takes, it's a detriment to yourself
Yeah.
and the other person. But I got faith in you, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
You'll get there.
Yeah, man. Uh, fellas, I think we need to take a little bit of break and then we come back. Or are we still here?
Yeah. We'll be right back after this.
Bet.
All right, we back.
Yes,
So,
sir.
man, I think that, you know what? I think that because we're supposed to be leaders in the household, I think that we should all come together and as men and meet more and have these conversations and try to figure things out. I would really, oh man, I just thought
Yeah.
Pastor Kiko's man cave.
Oh, yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I think we should invite some more guys to come out to that.
Yeah.
And I think that would be good. We need more men coming together, and identifying these things that we've been talking about and just try to figure this thing out, man. We can't always do it all by ourselves.
Yeah, man. I think this session or this episode was more for me than than you, man. But I agree with you, man. The man cave is a great place because one, it can't just be all the older generation. It can't just be all of our generation, but we also need those that are younger than us, man.
Yeah,
Because I think the perspective of manhood, um, or the perspective of leadership, even it's it's learning from each other as much as we learn to grow into that leadership role. Because what leadership looks like in my household is different than what it looks like in your household.
hmm
Because I mean, we're dealing with, you know, like you said, you're already married. I'm trying to get to the married space, and I think that leadership for what somebody's looking for out of me is going to be just drastically different because of, you know, age that I'm going into it or whatever, what have you. So yeah, man cave, man. And the next time that we hear about it, man, we might have to throw it on the socials and broadcast that
yeah,
out.
we'll definitely do that. Shout out Pastor Kiko, my
Yes,
boy.
sir. Good man, great wisdom, man, and
Yeah,
and truthfully a heart for not just, you know, the community but also young people, man. Like
yeah,
deep conversations you can have with that man.
yeah. I got a message for all the men out there right now though. This is my message to y'all. Stay out the group chat. Stay out of the group chat, man. I'm telling you,
Oh man,
you do not want to be in the group chat.
not at
If
all.
you end up in the group chat, you over with.
Yeah,
Now I ain't
man.
gonna say you over with, but you in a bad place.
Listen,
Ain't where you want to be at.
so before you get in that message, before you get in them DMs, tap into your discernment. If it's after a certain time, don't send that message. Don't do it to yourself.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Work on yourself. Heal yourself. Once you do that, then you can make your approach, but doing one at a time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I say final points, man. What's out of this conversation, man? What's your biggest uh thing about staying, I guess, out the parent trap?
Uh, in my opinion, how to stay out of the parent trap, I would say you got to get around some people that are smarter than you, that have experienced more than you, that know true right from wrong, that are willing and love you enough to steer you in the right direction. And I think that's where it starts.
Yeah. I'd say final piece for me, I guess, be I think we kind of touched on it, setting clear boundaries.
Yeah.
Understanding that everybody else's
With
expectation.
yourself.
Yeah, man. Because everybody else's expectation in your life doesn't necessarily have to be yours. You
Yep.
don't have to follow everybody else's.
Nope.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Beautiful conversation, man. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go cry in the car.
Man,
Yeah,
I
man.
love this dude, man.
Hey, man. Love you
Listen, we
more, bro.
appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Square Business Podcast, man. It's all about healing, growing, and building our community one brick at a time.
Yeah, man. And as you see, we don't have any quarrels about being a little bit more vulnerable every time now and again. But I can tell you this much: don't pray for me as I continue to go on this journey.
Pray for me too. Pray for me too.
Man, but until then, get at us on the socials, man.
Yeah, follow Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube is our main page. Please follow the YouTube page.
Yes, because we do put everything out on the other social medias, but that is where we really kind of push our episodes at.
Yes.
So we ask that you please follow that YouTube page and please get in the comments, man, because I think you'll find that there's a whole community of people that feel like you do or think like you do in those comments, man. So let's develop the conversation. Don't let it just, end with the episode, man. Get in those comments, have a conversation with one another. We'll hop in every now and again just to, try to keep things the right way because some folks go crazy. But remember, man, at the end of the day, It's all about square business.
That's it. So let's keep learning and growing together. Until next time, Square Business, we appreciate you tuning in. Holla at your boys, man.
Yeah.